Hey team, quick update. I want to share a couple of improvements, and then I want to, for those of you who want to know about the tariff situation in Mexico that we're dealing with our plant there, I want to share some information with that towards the end of the video. Let's go. So used to, this was a pallet and it had a barrel on there, and so they would fill up a different barrel from at the axle station and come and just dump it by hand, bring it there with a forklift and dump it by hand. But the R&D team just put a couple wheels on this bin and even a handle, so now we're not having to wait on the forklift. When it's full, it can just be exchanged by hand. Great job. We used to, on our dehumidifier in the office, we would just dump all the water that it got into a drain, but instead of that, we can use it to water these plants, which we do anyways. And also it's a signal, it's time to water the plants when the humidifier is full. So with the tariff situation in Mexico, we've been working hard this week. My team's been trying to learn a lot about what's going on and what it applies to and who's exempt. So Lamar Trailers in Mexico is not exempt to these tariffs. So what it is on August 18th, they added about 428 new categories, product categories that are subject to a 50% tariff, steel tariff. So all the steel that are in our trailers, we have to weigh our trailers, and a trailer might weigh 1,500 pounds, something like that. We have to pay 50% of what we paid for those trailers on the steel. And there's a couple reasons that the U.S. government does this, and I think it actually makes sense to me. One of them is national security. I hadn't thought about that, but if they rely too much on other countries for steel, like steel and aluminum, if the time ever came where they needed to build a lot or have a lot of steel and aluminum for self-defense, to make stuff for war or something like that, then they would be stuck if they don't have all that steel. And so they really want to be in charge of having enough steel in case there was a national security or they needed to protect the U.S. And so also they wanted to close the loopholes of where foreign steel was coming in, and so they added all these new product categories. And also another thing is, and that makes sense to me, is this will force the prices up on Mexico imports, and so the prices will be a little bit more fair to all the US made products, whereas now it's a pretty big gap, and so that's why there's a lot of imports happening. And so it's really difficult for the U.S. manufacturers to make anything on their products because there's so many cheaper products being imported, especially from China. So anyways, now it affects us in Mexico, and we're working hard with this. I think over time things will settle down. The steel prices in Mexico is going down slowly, from what I hear, and then and that'll help. And so it'll be a little bit more expensive for these trailers coming in from Mexico, but I think in the end we'll figure it out, and things will neutralize again, and we'll keep going. So that's the update on that. I hope that was helpful, and we're working really hard to keep our Mexico plant rolling and going, and really appreciate what they're doing. So that's all for now. I hope you guys have a great week. Enjoy your families.